The ninth harbinger, the prophecy. We walked down the marble steps and then along the reflecting pool. A question I said, breaking the silence, asked, he replied. The ninth harbinger is like eight in that it doesn't so much concern a piece of the mystery of Isaiah 10, but the whole prophecy, yes, but it's different from the eight in that the eight speaks primarily of what is in the present tense, and the ninth speaks about what would be in the future tense. Is that right? Correct. Why is it important, the distinction? Because Isaiah 9:10 exists in two realms. In one realm is the voice of a nation proclaiming or voting in defiance of God, but in the other realm is the voice of a prophet, the voice of Isaiah, and of God speaking through him. It's a prophecy, and as a prophecy is a judgment on the nation's defiance and arrogance, and a warning, a sign foretelling its future. It's a message sent from God and in such a way as to fall on the entire nation, so that all the people will know it. So the ninth harbinger is a manifestation of Isaiah 10 in the form of a prophecy, as both the vow and a prophecy, he said, and given in such a way as to fall on the nation. So then, to fall on America, yes. We walked on for a time in silence and pondered these words. Then he came to a stop and asked me for the seal he had just given me, and upon receiving it, he began to reveal its mystery. The ninth harbinger, he said. In the wake of the calamity, the nation issues its response in the form of a vow. The vow sets the nation on a course of defiance, a course that ends in judgment. The words of vow become part of a prophetic revelation given to the nation as a whole. An indictment of its rebellion, a foretelling of its future, a warning of its judgment, the ninth harbinger, the prophecy. Then, according to the mystery, there would have to have been a prophetic word given in the wake of 911 to foreign nation. He didn't answer, but just kept walking. A prophecy given, but not by a prophet. Still he was silent. And the words of the prophecy came true. He stopped to look at that, he said, pointing forward. In the distance ahead of us was the massive dome of the Capitol building, the center of the American government, he said. Is that the place? I asked. He didn't answer, but resumed walking. We continued until we reached the foot of a Capitol steps, where we came to a step. Nuriel, when do you think the leaders of ancient Israel first uttered their vow of defiance? Probably right after the calamity. And what would right after the calamity be with regard to America? The time right after 911, like September 12th, that would be right after why? On September 12, 2001, he said, the morning after the attack, the United States Senate and House of Representatives convened to issue a joint resolution responding to 911. It was to be the nation's first official response to the calamity, so it was here, I said. The vow must be spoken on behalf of the entire nation. Here, where the nation's representatives gather, the two representative bodies of American Congregation. Here would be the most perfect place for it to happen, the House of Representatives and the Senate. And of the two, the Senate is the upper or highest of representative bodies, and the highest representative of the highest body is the Senate Majority Leader, the highest representative of the nation's highest representative body, in position to deliver the nation's response to the calamity. We began ascending the marble steps. On the morning after September 11, he said America would issue its response to the calamity in the form of a joint resolution of Congress. The one appointed to present the nation's response was the Senate Majority Leader. The act would be critical, for as the nation responds to a divine warning, its future is determined. Finally, we reached the top of the stairs where the prophet continued his account. The smoke still hovered over ground zero as the American government prepared to deliver its response to 911 before the nation and the world waiting to see what the response would be. The Senate Majority Leader made his way to the podium. The President, Mr. President, he said, I sent the resolution to the desk. The assistant legislative clerk then read the document, a joint resolution expressing the sense of the Senate and the House of Representatives regarding the terrorist attacks launched against the United States on September 11, 2001. The clerk continued the reading of the resolution, a condemnation of the text, an expression of condolence, and then a call for unity, a war against terrorism, and the punishment of those responsible for the attack and all who assisted them. They would all be expected, I said. It would be, said the prophet. But then the Senate Majority Leader began his address. At the end of this speech would come the climax. These are the words proclaimed by the Senate Majority Leader on Capitol Hill the morning after 9/11 to President and sum up the nation's response to the calamity. Listen. I know that there is only the smallest measure of inspiration that can be taken from this devastation, but there is a passage in the Bible from Isaiah that I think speaks to all of us at times of like this. The bricks have fallen down, but we will rebuild with redressed stone. The fig trees have been felled, but we will replace them with cedars. I was speechless for several moments. I don't know what I expected to hear, but what I heard left me without words and with my heart racing. I was completely stunned. The ancient vow had actually been proclaimed to the nation from Capitol Hill. The vow of fallen bricks and sycamore had echoed through the halls of the United States Congress. And all on the morning after 9/11, how, I asked, how could that have happened? How could it have happened with a vice presidential candidate, or with the stone or the tree? How could any of it have happened? It had to happen, and so it did. For he was identifying America as a nation under judgment. Yes, unwittingly. The majority leader of the United States Senate was publicly pronouncing judgment on America. Blindly he replied, having no idea what he was pronouncing as far as he knew. He was only delivering an inspiring speech, but unknowingly playing his part in a prophetic mystery. Yes, and so the words of the ancient bow were now officially joined to American 911. And just as Isaiah recording of the bow transformed it into a matter of national record and a prophetic word for all the people, so now the same words were now officially recorded in the annals of Congress as a matter of national record. But the Senate Majority Leader wasn't a prophet. No, but you said it's a prophecy. How can someone who isn't a prophet bring forth a prophetic word? In the Gospel of John, he replied, the 11th chapter, the high priest Caiaphas is recorded as saying, it is necessary that one man should die for the people. It was the beginning of the plot that would end with the crucifixion of the Messiah, but it was something else as well. It was also prophecy, namely that one man, Jesus, would die for the people to save them. Caiaphas wasn't a prophet. He was an ungodly man, and yet he prophesied. It was the man he was, the office he held. He was speaking, as the gospel puts in, not of his own initiative, but prophesying by virtue of his office as the chief representative of the nation. So the Senate Majority Leader was prophesying by virtue of his office. The Senate Majority Leader was the highest representative of America's highest representative body. By virtue of that office, he became the instrument to represent the nation, to speak on its behalf, to give voice to its response, and to deliver a prophetic word. To someone can prophesy without being a prophet. How does that happen? The word is inspiration. When a prophet speaks, it is so under the inspiration of the Spirit. But Prophet aren't the only one.